number one is you are not qualified. This comes across as when people ask me, well, what kind of certification do you have? Well, who do I need to report to if I wanted to do that? And in this great state of Illinois, the answer is you don't need to report to anyone. And you don't need a special certification. And as we will see in some statistics after this, there's actually very little difference between children that are homeschooled by a parent who has a degree and one who has not finished college. It is very small. It is very small. So even somebody who only taken a year of college, never even went to college, that's not really what decides what kind of education you can give your child at home. Really what it is how much effort and how much commitment are you willing to make to their education. That's what really decides whether or not they get a good education at home. It's not whether you're certified, it's not who you report to. It really just has to do with what kind of commitment you're willing to make. Another thing that kind of goes along with this is people don't realize that really you know your child better than anyone. You're going to know, are they struggling in this subject? Is this something I need to work more on? Do I need to find a different type of curriculum? And the great thing about homeschooling is it actually allows you that flexibility. In a regular school setting, the teacher has what the teacher has to work with. That's it. It's whatever the federal government has decided, this is the math curriculum we're going to go with, this is what the kids are going to work with. And usually it is a pretty good curriculum, okay? But there are kids that are not going to learn that way. They're not going to learn math in that particular way, and they're going to struggle. As a homeschooler, you have the flexibility. Now, they don't learn this way. Maybe they'll learn better in a computer-based math program. Maybe they'll learn better when they watch DVDs that explain it to them, and then they do their work. Okay, so that's really, you have that flexibility. And again, you're going to know, you're going to see it right away, because it's right there. Is this not a good curriculum for my child? You know, do I need to actually back off and not help them so much? You know, you'll be able to see that yourself. So you are not qualified. It's definitely a big thing. The statistics. These are just some statistics, just for general information. I like statistics because I'm really a fact type of person, and so just for anybody else out there that wants these. Home education has grown at an average rate of 8.5% each year. And if you want to know what these groups are, I have them up here, like the NCES. The first one is the National Center for Education Statistics, the government-based group that does statistics for education. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's growing even more. At one point, and the reason that it's averaged 8.5% is because at one time it was 6%, and the last time they did it, it was almost 12%. Okay, and so they're taking an actually I think it was 4% and 12%, so they're taking an average right here. But every year, it actually goes up the percentage of children that are being homeschooled. Reasons people choose homeschooling, about a little bit. 31% say the school environment, 30% religious or moral, 16% are dissatisfied with academic instruction at school. Okay, so you can get an idea of why people are choosing to homeschool for many different reasons. Okay. The ACT, okay, a lot of questions. I get this all the time. What about college? What about SATs? What about ACT? You don't have to go to public school to take these tests. Anybody can take these tests. Homeschoolers take these tests, okay? ACT, the national average score is 20.8, while the average homeschooler is 22.5. Okay, the three that took the ACT know what that means, okay? SAT, same thing. National average score is 1020, while homeschoolers is 1092. Okay, so not only are they taking ACT and SAT, but they're scoring higher. Okay, so it's the same thing whether you're going to public school, private tutor, whatever it is you do. If they want to go to a university or a college that needs ACT, SAT, they can take it. And if they're going to go to, MCT or then they don't have to. It's the same rules apply. Okay? On average, homeschool students grade 1 through 4 perform one grade level above their public and private school counterparts. One grade level above. The achievement gap grows in grade 5, and by 8th grade, the average homeschooler performs 4 grade levels higher than the national average. I have seen this in my own home. My son right now is 1 grade level above what he would have been if he had stayed in school. And in some, like math, science, and literature, he's actually another grade level higher. He's not just a natural genius. Is that we're doing one-on-one learning. I can adapt and change the curriculum as I see it needs to be changed. And he's just flourished. He likes school. He likes to learn. Okay, and it really makes a big difference. My stepdaughter, when she came to us, was saying she actually failed. When she came to us in the summertime, she failed 7th grade. In the summer, I not only was able to bring her up to when she was in 8th grade, but she was getting all A's and B's after that, with the exception of math, which we're still trying to work out right now. But the point is that this really does happen. Because it's one-on-one, it's not because it's one-on-one and you're sitting there going, do your work, do better, do harder, let's go. It's not because you're doing that. It just happens when it's one-on-one learning, okay? Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. I can't even believe that this is still out there. And it's to the point now where I tell people I homeschool, and then I just wait for it. Please ask me about socialization, please. Just do it, right? Because then they say, well, what about socialization? And I say, yes, that's what I homeschool. And then it usually takes them a second. Oh, okay, yeah, right? Because it's not a myth anymore. It's not a question that you can really ask unless you're looking for an excuse to not homeschool your kids. I mean people that don't even homeschool that know how ridiculous this is. Okay? The problem really is that it's the type of socialization that we're getting in the school. Okay? That's the problem. Because really, if you guys, any of you that know our family, or know, all of you here actually know our families, know that our kids are all very involved in other things. They're all in sports, they're all in classes, they're all doing things. If you meet them, you would know that they would talk to adults, that they have no problem looking adults in the eye and speaking. They have no problem in group settings. I mean, really, you would have to try pretty hard to make this an issue. You would have to just close your kids up in your house, do nothing but schoolwork, and then they go watch TV all day. You would have to do that really to make socialization an issue. Okay? There are so many programs that you can still do when you homeschool, whether it's through the rec center or now it seems like there's a club for every sport, in the city. I mean, Woodstock's got, football club for kids, and they're starting a wrestling club. I mean, you've got everything that you can do. It's really, this shouldn't really be an issue anymore. And another thing that kind of bothers me about this is when somebody says, what about socialization, it makes me feel that they think it's the teacher's job to socialize with children. And that kind of worries me, really. I mean, I thought the teacher's job was to teach math, English, science, and history. I didn't think it was their job to teach our children respect for authority and how to talk to people and not to, to treat others with respect. I thought that was our job. And so, this also kind of shows me where we've gone as a society. We're thinking this is a reason to send our kids to school. That kind of concerns me. another thing that I feel like I want to ask them, and I've actually never done this, but I'm going to ask you guys, because maybe I'm just way off. Can you name, can anybody here name a positive social skill that you learned in school besides team sports? Because I will admit that in team sports, I learned really positive social skills. Actually, I still use today, and that's why, my husband and I personally, we want our children in some kind of, sports team environment. We do think that that's good. But besides that, can anybody here name a positive social skill you learned in school that you still learn today, or that you still use today? You mean like, oh, you mean like patriotism type thing? Okay. Yeah, that was obviously a private school, and I'm not saying that the public school doesn't teach patriotism, but I definitely would say that they don't do a very good job of it anymore, and I think that it's gotten worse and worse every generation. And I would say that that's something that is easier to teach in homeschool life. She's a junior right now. Actually, she's working on her senior year stuff right now. But I had her, as part of her senior year curriculum, do a semester on the Constitution, where she actually read the Constitution, and she's actually answering questions and doing work on the Constitution. They haven't done that in the public school system for a very long time. They don't do that anymore. You don't get that until you're in the college level and you actually sign up for that class, right? I think that's really sad, right? But, you really want to know what our country's about, you need to know what, how did you start, what happened, right? Okay, that was good, that was a private school, but I'll give you half a point for that one. Okay, anybody else? This is what I'm going to do. If you can think of one, anytime, today, tomorrow, you want to call me and call me on it and tell me, hey, I found one. Please do. Please do. Because I don't think you're going to find a positive social skill that you learned in school that you still use today. Okay? That's my challenge. You want to take it as homework? Go ahead. Okay, one last thing on this. It's just kind of a personal note. I don't know if any of you can really relate to this. When I was in about 3rd grade, I went to my grandparents for the summer. And when my mom picked me up at the end of the summer, 3rd grade, maybe like 8 or 9, something like that, I had put on about 20 pounds. On a kid that's that age, that's enormous. I think I was probably almost obese at that time. My mom didn't even recognize me when she saw me. I think she cried. She was so upset. And so when I went back to school, people who I thought were my friends saw me, and they just ridiculed me and they just made fun of me and they made me so mad. And I hated school after that. I hated it. I didn't want to go to school. I would make up that I was sick. I did not want to go to school. Over the course of that year, my mom was able to get me back down to my regular weight. But I was not quite the same after that. I was shy. I've never been shy before. I really had a hard time talking to people. I had very low self-esteem. For a long time, I thought I was still overweight because for so long I had been teased. I really did think I would go, and my mom kept telling me, you're fine, you're back to your regular weight. But it had been pushed in my mind by the other kids at my school that I was fat, that it just stuck with me. It stuck with me. It hurt for a long time. It took me a couple of years, really, until I was able to get my self-esteem back up, and I got back in the choir, and I started getting back on the right track. And my kids, never having been in that environment how do they deal with that? You know, here I am, I'm actually signing them up for football, and especially my son, right? Because I'm signing them up for wrestling and football. Okay, what kind of boys are going to be in wrestling and football, right? And sure enough, he came to me after practice one day, and there was this boy there that I knew this was going to be the boy. Because I saw him already. The first day of practice, he's making fun of the kids. He's got his little crony there, making fun of the this is the kid. This kid's going to pick on Tyler or something. And sure enough, about halfway through the practice season, you know, I always ask Tyler, you know, how was practice? What did you do? He'd tell me. And I said, you know, anything else? He said, yeah, well, you know, so-and-so was saying something about, he brought up something about God. Tyler said something about God. And this kid had made fun of him for it. And I was just, oh my gosh, okay. What'd you do? And he went, nothing. I just laughed, and then I went over and hung out with my friends. He saw it for the ridiculous thing that it was, because it was not something he was used to. He saw how ridiculous it was that this kid was making fun of him for something that he believed in. Right? Okay, whatever, go over here. You know, it was just, I try not to do that in front of my kids, or else I'm going to think that they're like, you know, the best in the world, but inside I was just, you know, and I'm like, I didn't say something to him, but it was calm down, you know, good job, you did that, you should probably do that next time, okay? But it just, to me, it showed me the difference of how I would have dealt something in school, how I would have dealt with it, and how he deals with it, because he's not exposed to it where it's normal. It's a normal, everyday thing to make fun of him. He sees it for the ridiculous thing that it is, and he moves on. You know, that, to me, that was really a proud moment for me. Okay, next one. Okay, you must be anti-teacher. I did not know if this one was out there, but I knew that about 75, 80% of the time I mention the teachers that I homeschool, they will get this, like you're one of them. You know what I mean? And it's almost like a wall comes up. And sometimes we'll start with each other, yes, well, what about organization? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what if they went to college? You know, I know they'll question me harsher than most people will. And I never understood, you know, why are you doing that? And then I realized that a lot of teachers actually take it personal. They think I have a problem with them. They think I don't like you teaching my kids, so I'm pulling them out. And so I felt strongly that this one needs to be debunked, because it's really not true for most homeschoolers. Most homeschoolers I know have so much respect for teachers, probably even more than people that send their kids to public school. Really. I mean, I can't imagine doing their job. It's hard for me to homeschool my kids. I can't imagine having, you know, 20-something Tylers, and I've got to teach them all math using the same curriculum, you know, and make sure they're not disturbing each other, and make sure that they're actually working up and listening to me. You know, and make sure they don't take too much homework, because then I'm going to hear it from the parents. I can't imagine doing that job. And so homeschoolers, they have a lot of respect for teachers. It is the environment and the curriculum that most homeschoolers take issue with. It's not the teachers. Okay, so this one, it's just really weird, but I definitely want to get it out there. It's not anything against the teachers. I love teachers. You know, and most homeschoolers I know love teachers. All right, the last one. Good touchy one. The kids won't listen to you, and you won't like your kids. You know, I feel this one a lot when I see parents that make comments like, oh, I can't wait for summer to be over. I can't wait for them to go back to school. They're driving me nuts. Right? You know, it's just, I feel like, you know, maybe there's a deeper issue. You know, maybe there's something else that needs to be worked out. maybe it doesn't matter if you homeschool, public school, private school, whatever you want to do. There's something else that's at the root of this problem that you need to solve with your child. You know, whether it's us as parents not having enough patience for them, okay, or whether it's them not listening, which is kind of our problem too, right? Because that usually goes back to discipline, right? Because we're not disciplining them, so they don't take it seriously. But, you know, we have this back and forth. There's problems there that we need to deal with, okay? And I try, what I really want to say, when people say this is, you know what, I think they can't wait to get rid of you too. You know, that's what I want to say to parents. But then I stop, and I remember, before I get up on my high horse, that there was a time where my stepdaughter first came to live with us, and it just kind of set the tone at first. This was like my third year of homeschooling, and I really found my groove. Yeah, I knew what curriculums were working for Tyler. He was really liking school. He was waking up early because he's a very early morning person. I'm not saying he's good at learning, but he would wake up early in the morning and he would start his work by himself. By the time I woke up, he's already halfway done with his schoolwork. He still does that. And then my little one, Sophia, was just learning ABCs, the 1, 2, 3, which is my favorite time. Because I'm still a preschool teacher at heart. I love that all of everything is brand new, and it's fun for me. So I'm really liking this. I'm really liking the homeschool thing, right? Like reading with Tyler, I'm doing fun stuff with Sophia. And then Casey comes, and she's failing 7th grade. She failed 7th grade. She was coming from a home environment that we weren't getting a whole story of what was going on there. We just knew that it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And basically, the parent over there said, you pick her. And so we did. And she came to stay with us, and she had such a darkness and such a hate for authority. And it was so difficult for me to get her to be I mean, really, she was looking at me like, you're not my mom, you're not my dad, and you're certainly not going to be my teacher. I mean, it was a triple whammy. She was looking at me like, don't tell me what to do, every single day. Every single day, getting her to do her schoolwork was torture. She would start at 9 o'clock in the morning, that's when we usually start our work, and she would still be doing it at 6 o'clock in the evening. She would just sit there, just to show me she could, and she wouldn't do it. It was really bad. And then, my son Tyler started mimicking what he saw. Pretty sure he wasn't doing his schoolwork. This was a child that always loved his school. He didn't know school was something that you weren't supposed to like. And now he saw that it was. That was an option. So then he started doing what his sister was doing. And then, when it really hit me, it was when Sophia, no, I don't want to do this. She'd never done that before. And I was looking at my robe, and I said, that's it. Casey needs to go to school. I can't handle this. I'm not qualified, okay? I'm not qualified to deal with this one. She needs to go somewhere else. And so then, my husband actually recently just found this out, that this even happened. Because I thought, okay, well now I need to tell my husband, and I prayed about it, right? A good Christian life before work on him, so he will understand what I'm trying to say. And please help him to agree with me, because I don't go and say, you know, that always works with phrase like that, right? And so, it was like, you know, when you get the answer, and it's not always the answer you want, but you know it's God's answer. You can do this for her. She has been pushed off enough. And I thought about it, and I realized she'd been pushed off onto the school system to raise her. Not just a teacher, but to raise her. The teachers being frustrated because now they have this child, and not only are they supposed to teach, but they're supposed to raise her because she's not getting any help at home. Decide she must have ADHD, and she's out of control. So she doesn't want medication. Home says, you know what? She's still your problem. You still need to fix her. The school, rightfully again, said, no, this is not our job. You need to fix it. And then she sent it to us. I'm done, the school's done, you got to take her. And what was I getting ready to do? What was I getting ready to do? I can't handle this. School system, please take her. And I realized it had to stop. It had to stop, and I had to find another way. And it was at this time, it's so awesome, but now I'm freaking out and I'm back at square one. Okay, right now I have the answer. I'm going to school stuff with this girl that doesn't like me. What do I do? And it was at this time I went to my very first part at home conference with Kim Marshall. And there was a lady there that was talking about issues of the heart. And she was saying, you know, kids when they're acting out and you don't know where it's coming from or they won't talk to you, just feed them God's word. Give them God's word. It is like medicine to their soul. They will open up and they will start to see what's right and what's wrong. And I thought to myself, I can't do that either. I just can't do that either, right? And so I was at the conference, and I was in Vanderbilt, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to find something that she's going to be receptive to, okay? Because she's a super cool, preteen, doesn't want anything to do with me, right? I need to find something she's going to understand. And I found this book here called Making Real Good Choices, a 30-day devotional. And got these cool kids on the front, they're jumping, they're coming out of school, it's really cool. So I got it, and it was a really simple concept. It was basically good choices, why they are good choices, biblically, backed up from the Bible, why it is not a good idea to do this, why it is a good idea to do this instead. And as we were doing this, I realized that most of the stuff in here, really, she had never heard. She had never heard why it is not okay to hate people. Why it is not okay to not have respect for authority. She never heard that. And once she started hearing that, it was like the door opened. And little by little, she started opening up to us. She started changing. I'm telling you, you talk to like anybody here that knew her when she first came here 4 years ago, you would not recognize her today. She is a totally different, totally changed, inside and out, spiritually connected to God young lady. That 4 years ago you would have thought there's just no way. She's so far gone. And it was all because of the devotion that we continue to do to this day. I'm telling you, when we skip a family Bible study, my house goes insane. It really is. I always think back to this lady. It is like medicine to our soul. When you do a family Bible study or any kind of devotion with your child, and if you take this away whether you homeschool or not, this is it right here. This is the point to take away. A family Bible study or a devotion, it changes your family. It really does. And it changes your way. So, when we're thinking about this as a reason not to homeschool, this is not a reason for private school, public school, whatever you want to do. This is a reason to maybe look and see what's the problem, what's the issue, and how we can resolve it. Okay? Another thing I think about when I think of this is, well, first of all, that God gives us our kids. He doesn't make any mistakes. Okay, although sometimes you make things because you're like, I don't understand this child, right? I don't get this child. But really, he doesn't make any mistakes. Now, the way I think about it, actually just had this epiphany maybe a year ago. I'm thinking, what my pet peeve is I cannot stand repeating myself. I could stand repeating myself. It would just irk me. I said it the first time, were you not listening? I don't stutter, I don't mutter, I speak clearly. It was just one of those things that if I said something to somebody and went, what? Said, and it how everybody's got that weird pet peeve that just irks them and messes with them more than that was mine, repeating myself. So what do my kids do? Like all the time. know, go do something totally different. That's not what I said to do. And I have to repeat myself. And repeat myself. And repeat myself. And I think to myself, God is so funny. Because you know what he's doing? He's going, oh, you're going to get over this. And these are the little people that are going to help you. Because you know now, it doesn't bother me much. I mean, it's kind of like, okay. But it doesn't make me mad. I can do it now. I can repeat myself all day long, and I do. You know what I mean? Really, the kids that you are given really only need two options. And that's either grow to be more like Jesus, or to let them make you totally insane. You know, which one are you going to choose, right? And there's times where I hit the fork in the road multiple times during the day sometimes, right? Some days are worse than others, and I'm like, Jesus are insane, Jesus are insane. You know, and you got to make that choice. You got to make that choice. Which way are you going to go? Because God has given you these tools, okay, these children, to help grow you into the spiritual person you know you can be. And the sooner I realize that, the more at peace I am. You'll just go, you know what? I'm going to have more patience today. Or you know what? This is just going to help me in this way, or this way, or this way. Okay? So, it depends on how you look at it. All right, the next one. Yeah, that's it for the myths. I just wanted to close basically on a few Bible verses. There's tons of Bible verses, and I'm actually going to have all of them up here in a minute. But the three that I really think of that really encourage me that homeschooling is biblical are these three right there. One is, a student is not above his teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like his teacher, Luke 6:40. Now, when they're talking about this, it's not really the teacher themselves, because, you know, like I said, they got 30 kids, and their personality is going to make very little effect on each child. Who the teacher is the curriculum and the environment that they are in. That's their teacher. That's what molds them. That's what pushes them into the person that they're going to be. Okay, so when I'm saying a student is not above the teacher, I'm really talking more about the environment and the curriculum. That's what influences them the most in school. And do we want them to be like the environment and some of the curriculum that they have in the school? Yes or no? And the next one? You're stuck? Mark 12:17, and Jesus said to them, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. And they were amazed at him. Nothing's not being able to do that. Okay, so give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. Okay, so when he's saying this, right, he's showing the point, and you're saying, you know, whose impression is on him? Well, it's Caesar's. Okay, well, then give it back to Caesar, right? Whose impression is on the face of your child? Whose impression is on the face of your child? Why would we render them to Caesar? Okay, so that's one of mine that I really, really like this one. Okay, next one. Matthew 12:30, Jesus said, he who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me is gathered. He who is not with me is against me. Is our public school system for Jesus? That only leaves one other option. All right. Wait, is there an additional verse? I mean, there's so many if you look through it. We'll put this one back up when we're all done. And if you want to look at any of these, look them up. If you don't understand how they properly correlate with homeschooling, you can call me anytime. You know, if you really want to check me, I like being held accountable. Just make me better. So, you know, check these out. And then, before I explain the books in the back, And for me, just go ahead and if there's any questions about anything. Yeah.
I don't know where I heard this before, but are there still, like there's some things like sports or like music or other organized multiple child things that you have in the normal public school system? Are those things still accessible to homeschool children? Like bands, like I mean, can you do that? Can you do things like band, choir, and drama, and sports through the school system, or is that?
If you want, or there are groups that do it, like drama. There's CYT Christian Theater. I can do that and love it. Very good program called Christian Mix. People there all over, band. I know that there's homeschool band at Rockford. Or sometimes you have to call people in the area. Sometimes they'll let you use that if you take one class that you know in the class. The school would make their students. I mean, you have to band or whatever sport. Actually, I think we're going to look at that.
Because I know, at least I would assume you're already paying taxes for the school, so it seems like for things like that you can't facilitate at home. I thought I had heard somewhere that.
And you know what? I know some areas are more open to homeschoolers coming. What criteria? I know that well, they have to be a student. There's some that will just have to go to classes. I know that I think there was Richmond was really good. He didn't require any classes at all. So it's,
yeah, I guess Marty might need to be there, but choosing to do it from home.
But there's a lot of other organizations too that aren't private clubs, like my son does football through Woodstock Thunder. He does wrestling through like Wooders. We have drama. We have piano teachers like Phil. There's There's another one in Richmond that's really good. I talked about that. But I mean, there's so many. You know, and the cool thing is too is my son's piano lesson is early in the afternoon. So that works best for me. You know, because of homeschool, we can do that. I can take him for a 1 o'clock piano lesson when everybody else is in school. You know, and I can do it to whatever works for my schedule.
I don't know if she answered your question or not.
Well, more or less, yeah.
The answer to the question is yes. Bottom line is all the schools you're allowed to participate in that program. Each one just has different criteria. Woodstock, I looked into Woodstock for, let's say in the future, my son wants to keep wrestling and playing football.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the exact hours, but it came up to be 1 or 2 classes that he would have to take places. And that's no specific class, so it could be like shop, or whatever. It's hours. It's not a particular type of class.
Okay.
It's a certain number of hours. Private schools, totally at their discretion.
Yeah.
Our son just went to a football camp, and the coach already talked to us. He's like, in a couple of years when he gets old enough, he's in the junior high level, and he wants to come play with us. Theirs is 1 class.
Yeah.
He'd have to come. He'd take 1 class. He could play for our school, and that's a private school. So it varies. The answer is yes, but it varies.
Tim Tebow?
Yes, but it's up to the school district.
It is.
Right?
And Tim Tebow was homeschooled. I don't even know who he is. He was homeschooled.
Yeah, really?
He was homeschooled, and then that was actually he actually got state law changed in, I think it was Florida, because they gave the schools, because he was such a great player, the rival schools started bringing complaining about it, that he wasn't actually going to that school. So the laws were actually changed because of him.
Huh.
For those of you that don't know, Tim Tebow was a football player that had their controversial commercial, it was a pro-life commercial.
Yeah.
He was on. So, yeah, I mean, there's, there's that possibility. Sometimes, it will actually have more possibilities because you're not tied down to just whether that.
Yeah.
Hours a day, because academic-wise, that academic time is spent, not they want to, not only time as well after grade and after lunch and get that insight, you know what I mean, and all those things. They're like, well, this is for 6 hours, why do you go for 53?
Here's the one that you're not
counting.
right.
You're not counting all of it. Well, we spent 10 minutes transitioning from science to math, and then that's on half hour teaching, and even though like they've got it in 5 minutes, you know what I mean, like that's so much time you don't have to spend, you've got so much more time to dedicate to things.
Oh, yeah.
But their personal interests, like football, art, drama, singing, orchestra, whatever.
My son is going to 7th grade next year, and it takes him a maximum of 4 hours to school. He starts, that's who they start to have to play. He's sleeping. He goes and he starts at school, which is good, and he's crashing, but he gets to work real quick. He starts at like 4:07. And by like 10, 11 o'clock, that's when you walk. Sometimes you come to work out and he's going to the It's because he wakes up and goes straight to work and he's done. That's it. Oh, and then, if you have a question, you ask me, am I there or not? No, it's not.
One-
Even high school, so.
Yeah, exactly. It just gets a little bit longer, as they get older, and it's still not like a whole day.
The one thing that I've seen that they really learn is time management. That varies from kid to kid. Our son Tyler, he gets it. He knows, he gets down there, busts his butt, knocks it out, and he has the rest of the day to play and do whatever he wants to do. Our 17-year-old,
She was in school up until 8th grade.
she's a lot better, but still, she's a daydreamer. She'll sit there and she'll, start thinking about whatever else, and sometimes she spins longer. And she understands it, but it's like it really hasn't sunk in that if she just knocks it out, she has the whole rest of the day to
She's
do
not
whatever.
much better.
But she had,
Actually,
yes.
Since she's been doing her senior year, she's been doing it. She's just sitting down, getting going. She moves, she sees she can distract by the kids, she can distract by the room, she'll get it done,
But they learn time management. I think that's one skill that will really help them in college.
Well, I
'Cause you're not
have two
gonna-
in college
yeah.
that it really does help them. I mean, they're very good at managing their time and working and keeping up with their studies, And I think a lot of freshmen in college kind of bomb out in that, because they're not used to it. I mean, you look at the majority of MCC students, a lot of them bomb out that first year, that first semester, or at least part of it, because they're just not paying as much attention to how much time they need to spend on their studies.
Plus, it freaks them out if the teacher gives them
An assignment for the semester.
and then they don't mention it again.
Yeah, you got your
responsible for that. And what I do in my homeschooling is I put out their schoolwork for the week.
Right.
They have a calendar, it's there. If they want to get it done and take a day off, they can do that. But I'm not going to sit there daily, especially once they get up to the junior high level. Because they can get it, and they should get it. And they should get used to doing that, building so accountable to school. And so it really does help on time management. I've had earlier age, I don't know that, or maybe it's at college, So, are there any other questions? All right, let me bring it to the floor. Okay, this first one, I don't think I really need to explain my first unit, my Bible. But again, it goes to, you can do something like this every night with your child. Because that 1 hour a week that they get in school, we're going to talk about that at church. That is not really This is a really good one. This is one that I use for Sophia. She really helped me really this one, keep the sibling, lose the rivalry. I would say if you have kids 4 and up, you have a couple kids, this is excellent. This really is something that gives them tools and how they can treat each other with respect and love. And I always bring up to my kids, you know, the Bible says the church is supposed to treat each other like brothers and sisters. Does that mean we're supposed to be teasing each other and nagging each other and annoying each other? And they all go, no. Well, why do they use brothers and sisters as an example? You should actually be loving each other and helping each other. Okay, so this book really teaches us a lot. And what it is a book for you to read, but I read it to my kids anyways, and then at the end we've got the Bible study that you can actually read it. This one, don't check your brain at the door. Josh McDowell and whoever it is that they care about he writes the greatest stuff, really breaking it down. What do you believe and why you believe it? Sometimes we get so close. Somebody corners us and they're like, well, I don't believe in this, this. And you know it's wrong. How do you answer? You know, this right here, I think with Tyler, he was not, she was 16. They got it. They got it, okay? It really, you know, kind of like we did here with the myths, it had myths and why we don't make sense. And what the Bible says, why we don't make sense. Okay, so this, and really, you know, right with that, we'll check the brain at the door. You know, it's really teaching us as Christians. We're not supposed to talk to each other to blind to the road. You know, we're supposed to think for ourselves. We're supposed to do it. The goals, teenagers, junior hires. You know, he's a funny guy too, so he breaks stuff. Okay, this one is set right here. I already saw him do it. This, my husband and I went to the weekend for the This is the only thing we bought, right? That was everything. That was the thing. And it was an eye-opener. There are things in here. What we did is we read the one, you know, and then we came back to talk about it. And it was like, when I'm saying this to you, is this really what you're thinking? Yeah, didn't you know that? We take for granted that the other gender thinks we're right, and we're wrong. Totally wrong. Okay, and it's great that you guys are really working on it. So now when I say something to my husband, and he's looking at me, I get a better idea of what went wrong. Okay, I didn't phrase it the way he said. Well, really, he's just in his own thought. You know, I get it. And he does the same thing with me. He picks other books. Very small, but take a long time. You know, we try to get the point. Go with that. Okay, so in the very back, up against that wall back there, we have some curriculum. Kenny Martinez talking about curriculum. She uses. I have some pamphlets and things from vendors at the homeschool convention. And then I also have computers we have where I've actually saved different years homeschool work for my kids. So if you look through there, you'll see everything from Sophia in preschool till Casey's junior year. And you can actually look through there and see what kind of work they did. And then in the very last section, after the binder, there is a sheet. Sign up if you're interested in another workshop. And basically, this next workshop is going to be if you're interested in homeschool, where would you start? Right? What kind of curriculum are out there? What kind of learning style? How do I know what learning style my child has? How would I work it into my schedule? Like already busy schedule. Okay? So if you're interested in doing something like that, put your name and your phone number and what day of the week works best for you. And I would try to work it within the next 4 weeks. I will post it another day, or have another step. Okay? Thank you so much for coming.